name is Rodzani Chigemane. I'm head of communication and stakeholder relation at National Lottery Commission. I'm not alone here. I'm one with my colleague, Mr. Emmanuel Mboya. He's our NLC technical person in terms of our Tutuka online system. So that's the person that is going to engage you in terms of the presentation today. In terms of the objective for today's session, we are trying to assist our civil society organization with the username and how to reset the password, and also to take our organization in terms of registration on module 1. So if we can get our act together in terms of how do you reset the username as well as the password, you will be good to go in terms of module 1 registration. After module 1 registration, you will move to module 2, where you are going to submit your application. But the main objective for today's session is to assist you with the username, also the password, and how to go about in terms of registration. And let me just give you a little bit background in terms of where we are sitting. We are sitting at 1,500 in terms of organization that submitted application as we speak. However, in terms of module 1, we are sitting at 5,000, where we are trying to reduce this number to move to module 2. So in essence, if we can get our act together in terms of username as well as the password, we will be able to register on module 1. Thereby, you will be able to move to module 2. So the main objective is to make sure that organizations which are sitting on module 1, they are able to move to module 2 so that they can submit their application. So that's the main objective of this session today. And in terms of our program, we will have presentation in terms of how do you create your username, and also how do you create your password. And then we will move to module 1, where we will showcase or demonstrate how do you go about in terms of registration. And after that, we will be able to take questions and possible answers at the end of our program. But during the course of the proceeding, we will allow all our civil society organizations to put their questions on the comments, so that at the end of our presentation or demonstration, we will be able to tackle those questions and give you possible answers. So we encourage short break. Short break of 5 to 10 minutes, and thereafter we will be taking questions and giving you answers. Emmanuel, I will hand over to you in terms of demonstrating how our civil society organization can create username, and also issue of resetting or creating the password so that they are able to register on module 1. So over to you, Mr. Emmanuel Mboya, who is our technical person at the National Lottery Commission. Over to you, sir.
Good morning. My name is Emmanuel. Like I said, I'll be assisting you in the process of resetting your password. So in the effort of allowing all of you guys to get access to the portal to submit your registration to first complete module 1, we created a war room where we realized that most people are struggling with password reset. That's the reason why we're here to assist you. The process is very simple. You click on the forgot password button that is just found here at the bottom. When you do click on the forgot password, the system asks you to enter your username. In my case, I'll enter my username. I'd say Emmanuel M, whatever username you have. You click submit. When you do click submit, you see three text boxes. The first one is for an OTP that will be sent to you via email. The second one is the new password you create. And the third one is the same password that you created that you just put to confirm it. So I'll open my mailbox right now, just giving a few seconds. The OTP does sometimes take time, few seconds. And as soon as we have it, but while waiting for the OTP, let's just create a password. I'll create a password, preferably 15 character long. So you can just make up a bunch of characters that you still can remember to log in. As you can see, I received an OTP, and this is a very good instruction. When you receive an OTP, please only focus on the letters that you get. Do not focus on any dot after that or any space. In our case, we have this OTP that I'm going to put in on the portal. So it's GBSX, and then UJ. I'm just going to type in the password once more just to be sure we have the correct password that I'm resetting it to. Okay, and once you have your password with a special character, you just click change password. As you can see, it says password changed. Now we'll try to log in with the new password. So I'll put in my username, like we all know, and put in the password. You can also just view your password to be sure that you're actually putting in the correct password that you just reset. And as you can see, the system is welcoming me because I did indeed put the correct password, and you sent to the OTP screen that most of you are familiar with. Now on the OTP screen, you still get an OTP, but this OTP is not for you to reset the password, but it says to give you access to the system. So I'm going to go back to my mailbox once more. As you can see, I got another OTP. We focus on the numbers. So it's 3308. 8014. So 338014. The OTP is then valid. But before we move, this is something we've really seen with most applicants, is that when you receive an OTP, you have a chain of communication from the portal. You should always open the email and check below the chain of communication for the OTP, because in most cases you check the previous OTP that was sent to you that is displayed on your mailbox. So you just have a look at that, and then from here I'll take you through the registration of an organization. Just so before we go on to registering an organization, I'll just show you once more how to change your password, if that's correct. Let's assume I forgot my password that we just created a few minutes ago. I'm just going to put in my username, like I said, In my case, my username is Emmanuel M. I'll click submit. We fire off the forgot password process. We're expecting an OTP. That should take a few seconds to get into our mailbox. But in the meantime, we do indeed create a password. So I'll create a password now. Okay, we did get an OTP. And the OTP is W3F. So I will just copy it. You can copy it, or you can just type it also. And then click change password. As you can see, the password does not match. That's because I entered the wrong password at the bottom. Just have a look at that also. So make sure the password you enter on the second text box is exactly the same password you enter on the third as well. Okay, and then we'll click change password. As you can see, the system notifies me that the password has been changed. So I will go ahead and log in with the new password we've just created. Okay, and then click login. As you can see, I'm logging in. I'm expecting an OTP. That should take a few seconds to get to our mailbox. And once you do have the OTP, you just enter it on the screen. It should validate automatically and lead you to the screen where you can register an organization. So we just are waiting for the OTP. Okay, we did get an OTP. It's 452798. And once you enter the OTP, after the validation, you should be led to this screen that you see. So this is the registration screen, or module 1. So here, the process is simple. You select the province. In our case, it's Gauteng, and then the ID number. The ID number that you enter is the ID number of the director, one of the directors, because this information would then be also put in the list of directors. So I'll enter my ID number now. Okay, and after you enter your ID number, be sure to put in the correct organization name, because what we found also is that most applicants do put a name that doesn't match what they have on DSD site. So in my case, I'll put my organization name. And then you select the organization type. So there are 3 options. You can either have a school, a non-profit company, or a non-profit organization. I'll go for a non-profit organization with my NPO number 123-897 NPO. And then this pops on the screen. When you see this, most applicants take a screenshot and send it to support to ask why they see this. The zero request found only means there's no registration that has been made for that specific NPO number. So you're good to go. You just click OK, and then you enter the number of directors you have. In this case, I'm the sole director. It's only me. I enter 1, and then I accept the terms and condition. And then you click next. When you do click next, you should get a pop-up that says you've submitted a registration. Just give it some time. As you can see, registration submitted successfully. And on the list of directors, it's just populated my my username that I have on the system, my email address, my ID number, and who I actually am as a director. You can just click on this button right here. There's a profile and a pencil to edit the director details, because you do need to edit the name, the surname to the correct name and surname that you have on DSD side. In my case, it's Emmanuel. My surname, Buya. And then you select also the nationality. In our case, it is indeed South Africa. You update. And if you happen to have more than one director, then you just go on and click on Add Director. And then you do the same process that you did for the first director. If you have 5 directors, 6, 7, you just add all of them. And please be sure to enter the details that match what DSD have on their side. Because what we've realized or found out is that most people have a mismatch. They enter details that are not found on DSD. But when we do the verification process, we then find out that you're not verified because of that. So in our case, we have 1 director, like I said. We go next. When you do go next, you get to the screen where you just need to enter more information. In our case, is the details of our organization, such as the sector. In my case, it is charities, food security as a subsector, and the subsector, food gardens. And then before you click next, because when you click next, you won't be able to go next, because there are 4 other tabs at the top here that you need to fill. And these have mandatory information like your address, your registration details, other details, and people details. Yeah, we'll start with the address. I'll just put in an address. Your street name, your street number, and then your suburb. Your main office address, which is generally just the same address. And then you can also put in your main contact person details. In this case, it is myself. I am the main contact person. Okay, then you move on to the registration details. In most cases, this is already filled in. That's why it's grayed out. You cannot edit this information because you've already previously captured this when submitting a registration. The other details, there's questions that you can answer. In my case, I'm not under an umbrella body. You can describe the nature of your services. Here, you can also add your website, if you have any, your LinkedIn profile, your Facebook. In my case, I'm just going to write this description. And then who are the people that will be benefiting from my services or products? I'd say youth, children, elderly, women, unemployed, and other. And then the provinces I'll be operating under depends. You can have all the provinces or whatever province you operate under. In my case, it is Gauteng, which I'm going to select. And then now I'm able to click next. You see that it took me next because I filled in all the mandatory information that I needed to fill under organization details. When you come next under your organization members, these are the members of your organization. The process is pretty simple, just like we did for the directors. You click on new member, the member type, in this case, it's me, the main contact person, the name and surname, the position, I am a director, the nationality, the race, and every other information. And one important aspect here also is that you need to upload a copy of the ID. I'll just enter my ID number once more and then upload a copy. And if you try to upload an ID or you upload a document and it just fails, just go ahead and re-upload it again. In this case, I'll just upload this document and then click save. When you do click save, you'd see that it says a member has been added. You can go next and do the same for your staff as well. The process is just the same, where you put in the staff details and the ID number. In this case, I am a paid staff. Put myself in as a staff. And when you're filling out the information on the portal, when you see a little asterisk at the beginning of the word that or the drop down that you need to fill it in, it only means that that is a mandatory field. It means you cannot save or go next if you haven't filled that in. In this case, we have the staff type, the name and surname, the position. The location is not mandatory, so we can skip it. The nationality is not in this case, but you can just put it in, your gender, your UIF number, and all of that. I'm just going to skip and jump to my ID. All right, then click save. Okay, and once the stuff has been added, you can then go on and click done. When you click done, this is what happens. You've submitted your registration. You should be able to see a code that says NLC 300, which is awaiting verification. If you entered the correct information that matches what we have on DSD side, after a few hours or minutes, you do get an NLC 200, which then allows you to proceed to module 2 to submit your application. So that's it on my side. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Emmanuel Mbuya from our NLC technical team. Your presentation is really appreciated. But 2 or 3 key things that I got from your presentation. I think our civil society organization, you need to ensure that you document your username, whereby you can write it somewhere so that you don't forget. And also issue of password. I think it's also need to be documented somewhere, whether it's kept letter when it started. You need to ensure that whatever that you put on the system, you can write it somewhere for you to remember. And then ensure also you have got an active email address, because when you have active email address, issue of OTP, it will be sent on your email address. And as a result, you need to have one which is very active. And also in terms of DSD, Department of Social Development, ensure that your directors that are on the database of DSD are the same people that you are putting on our system in terms of full names, name and surname, and all other details, including registration. Because if your information that you put is contrary to what is appearing on the database of DSD, you're not going to be able to move to module 2. So you need to ensure that the same information that you are putting on our system is the same information that is there on the DSD. But also, just to recap, in terms of Module 1, we are trying to ensure that issue of compliance verification. As I said, we are not working alone. We are also working with key institutions, CIPC for non-profit companies, and non-profit organization, DSD. And we are also working with SARS to ensure that you are in compliance with SARS. So the benefits of this, we are able to see as the National Lottery Commission, that in terms of compliance, you comply with this institution, because if you put same information that appears on the database of this key institution that I mentioned, if information is similar, we will realize that we are processing the right application. Issue of fraudulent application. So if you put information which is not the same as appearing at CIPC or DSD, basically you are not going to move to Module 2 because information is not the same. So ensure that information is similar. And also issue of centralized database for application records. As time goes, as the NLC, we are able to track compliance on our system. And also in terms of applicants' benefits, as you remember, you can apply anytime, anywhere. This is online registration. So whether you are at home, you are at your workplace, you can apply anywhere. You don't have to go to our offices. But our offices in the provinces, they are available for you to assist. But if you can be able to do it on your own, you can do it at anywhere, anytime. So that's the benefits of this system, and you can apply at any given time. Without wasting much time, we will break for 5 minutes, and then we will come back to address your questions. As you remember, I said on the comment section, please write your questions, and after 5 minutes, we will be able to come back and reply to those type of questions. Thank you very much. We will break and then we will resume in 5 minutes. Please ensure that you put your questions on the comment section so that we address everything that you have. This is your opportunity to engage the National Lotteries Commission to ensure that you have got proper registration and you are able to move to Module 2 to submit your application. As our main objective to have this session is to assist you to make sure that you comply with registration of the NLC. Thank you very much.
5, 4, 2, 1.
Welcome back to NLC online registration webinar. We were trying to package the questions as per your comments on the Facebook. We have ±8 questions that the NLC technical team is going to try by all means to give you answers. And on my left, I've got Emmanuel Mbuya, who will give you some answers as per your questions. I will also at a later stage joined by Mrs. Chiki Moffat Mubu, which is our program manager for modernization, which is this online system. Emmanuel, over to you. Please tell answers to our civil society organization.
Okay, thank you so much. We'll just be answering a few technical questions that I have right here. The first question that we have is, what am I supposed to do when the system says my profile has been canceled? So what happens is, like I previously explained during the registration process, when you've already submitted a registration for an organization, let's say you have an NPO with an NPO number that says 123895 NPO, for example, you've already submitted that registration. And then you create a new profile and try to register the same organization. What the system then tells you is that you already have a request that has been found in the system, so you cannot submit another registration. Then the screen just reloads. So what you need to do is, like it was previously said, it's not down your username and your password so that doesn't happen. Because when you have your correct username and password and you log in, you send back to the registration that you previously made instead of creating a new one. So the system doesn't kick you out, it's just preventing you from submitting a duplicate registration. That's for the first question. I'll go to the second question. It says, why does the system kick me out after resetting my password until it says 5 times? The system allows you to reset your password up to 10 times. You can go on and reset the password up to 10 times. And please, be sure you use your username when resetting your password. Remember your username, write it down on a piece of paper, and then when you reset the password up to 5 times. And then another question said, I have successfully changed my password, but when I try to log in, it says invalid password and username. In some cases, your network could be slow. So what you just need to do is give it a little bit of time, maybe 5 minutes, just refresh the page and try it again. Like I said, also, when you reset the password, just write down your username, write down the password as well, refresh, just wait a few minutes. You go back on the portal, you put in your username and your password, you should be able to log in. And lastly, on the technical side, a macro error. There was a question that was posted in the chat regarding that. Macro errors actually occur when your network is not stable. So say you've hotspotted yourself, you're connected to your Wi-Fi, or you have your mobile data on, and you try to perform something specific on the system, such as submitting registration of an organization. When your network is not strong enough, it brings the macro flow error at the top right of the screen. So all you need to do is just refresh your page and then try it again. It doesn't mean the system is kicking you out or preventing you from submitting a registration or performing a specific action. You just refresh the page and do it again. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Chiki Moffat Mubu, and I'm glad to join Emmanuel just to come and look at some of the other questions to respond. And I just wanted to say that just as a reminder to remind the civil society that we are using a demo platform here. So that means that it is a testing environment and it's not a live environment, because I see some of the questions that people are posing is like to ask like, Can an organization register with only one director? As you do know, whether you are an MPO or whether you are MPC, you need to have more than one director, because the rules in terms of how many directors you should have should be adhering to the rules of the MPO Act or that of the Companies Act. One of the other questions that people are posing is to ask, our organization's members consider all our staff members? Yes, it considers all your staff members. We do have an opportunity there where we would like to see the people that are on your payroll currently, so that we are able to validate and verify that against the Department of Labor. And there is another category which we call a job creation category. That is if you move on and you will be applying. And these will be the people that we would be seeing that if you have to be granted funding, then those people will then be able to be recorded in terms of the job opportunities that has been created because of the allocation of funds. But initially for module 1 for the registration, so we would really like you to register all staff members. So I think there's somebody also relating to the number of staff members. There are some small organizations and we have big organizations. I'm specifically thinking if you, for example, in the art space and you are doing community theater, or you could be in ballet, for example, that you would be having more than 20 staff members for the purpose of us to be able to record and have an accurate record of your organization. We would really like you to actually punch in all your staff members. The system is user-friendly to allow for that, so that should not be a problem. That you would not be able to do that. Then there were some, I think, more compliance and corporate governance questions. Somebody asked a question, I work in local government, and the person indicated that he spoke to finance, but they cannot seem to give me my UIF number and pay-as-you-earn number. So my response to that is that if you are already working in government in particular, it would be seen as conflict of interest, because if you have to punch in, remember earlier we said that we would like to see that you are giving us all your staff members, and the simple reason for that is to ensure that people are not getting a double salary, which means you are working for government and you are also now earning money in the MPO or the MPC where you are working for. If you are doing work for an MPO or an MPC, then you should be regarded and select the volunteer button, because there are options that will say, are you fully paid? Are you fully salaried? Are you a volunteer? So that we are able to differentiate. So that is why, remember, we would really like to make sure that people are accounted for, that people are not earning salaries in double spaces, and in particular because all the money is coming from government. So it will be a serious conflict of interest that I need to put it out there, and it might be able to get yourself in trouble in that case. If we are able to see from the Department of Labor that you have a PYE number already, and now because of working for the MPO, you will then have to go and generate another one. So that's how I will respond to that one. A second one that somebody was asking, the person is actually saying that, am I able to lease my property and assets, which is now obviously a building and vehicles, to the MPO for operational purposes, even if I am one of the directors of that MPO? Then he goes further and say, and can I charge and bill the organization accordingly as per such lease agreement? I think it's a loaded question, ladies and gentlemen. And I think when we look at these issues, this is where we are looking at good corporate governance, because number one, if you cannot be the one who is leasing a building to an MPO or an MPC, and you also serve on that board. It's unethical, and it cannot be seen as something to be correct. So we will certainly would like to see that type of situation, because it's almost similar, like the person who is working in local government and he also earns a salary there, but he also earns a salary in the MPO. So that's basically the same thing, because we would request that you would rather resign, because you cannot be seen as also now looking after the corporate governance of the same entity who is also then giving you a lease amount. So we would love you to please look at that and see that you separate those type of issues. So because there are organizations, one of the things that we would love to see in terms of sustainability is that MPOs or MPCs would be owning the entities. And we would only be able to give you funding if we can see that the building is in the name of the entity. But we would not be contributing to any requests for structural requirements for adding an existing room or a building or whatever you would like to see, because it's a lease agreement. If it's a lease agreement, the NLC does not approve funding for extending a building that belongs to someone else. So please remember that as a principle if you have to move on to funding. So I hope I have addressed some of the issues that were raised. And maybe some of the other issues that I would love to also say that what we also look at in terms of good corporate governance. We also would not like to see that there are family members, for example, as signatories on an organization. There's normally a notion that is also perceived as a perceived conflict of interest. And we would actually like to see that one of the members should be replaced with a neutral person. So these are some of the things that people would also like to be looking at. Although we are aware that, of course, with NPOs, it is in most cases started by families. But because the project evolves and it then contributes to the broader part of the community, we would like then to see broader community people involved in the management and the strategic direction of the organization. And this is a requirement that is obviously being asked by most funders. So this is also something that I would like to raise with the civil society out there when it comes to the whole issues of good corporate governance and the kind of things that you might have experienced that the NLC is not very welcoming at this point in time. I think at that point in time, this is what we have in terms of questions from our side. I just wanted to get an indication, is there maybe any other questions? But maybe one of the other things to what I would like to also say, that we are certainly very excited. Civil society, as Rudzani has indicated to the team, that we can see that our numbers are growing in terms of full registrations. And remember, just like Emmanuel have indicated to you, how do you know that I am fully registered is once you have received that NLC 200 code. That is an indication to you that I am good to go and I can move on to module 2. And that is now where you can actually apply for funding. You will have to go and look onto our website to see what are the areas that we have either under arts, charities, in sports, and you will then be able to apply for funding. But what I also would like to say to the community out there is that remember that we still have certain specific things that we are asking for under the 3 sectors. And remember, even though you might be registered with us, if you have received funding within the last 12 months from the NLC, you will still be subjected to the cooling off period. That means that you will not be eligible to move on for funding. So we also would like you to also take note of that particular issue. But we also just want to remind the public and the whole of South Africa again that the NLC is here. We have set up the war rooms. We are providing the technical support with the NLC technical team at the head office in Pretoria. And we also have the Department of Social Development that is also sitting here with us to support the MPOs, where we are seeing there's a lot of administrative problems, like what Emmanuel have explained, where your information, and then we're actually fast tracking the uploading of the information, because this is what the public has been telling us, the time lapse that DSD is taking. So by this joint initiatives, we can see that things are moving, and we really want to encourage the public to either go to our provincial offices if you don't catch the provincial desk sessions, help desk sessions, complete that form, forward it back to the NLC, and we will then pass it on to the DSD, who then fast track those ones so that you guys are all able to move on and be able to apply for funding accordingly. So I think we will be continuously having these sessions to continuously educate the public and continuously make it easy for you to be able to understand our new Tutuka system,